Konnichiwa minasama. Hello everyone, Reymund here. And today I am going to share a little about some updates regarding my life here in Japan so far. So I kind of like categorize the things that I'm gonna talk today. The first one is about an introduction of my life here in Japan. The second one is my arrival and first impressions. The third one is life as a MEXT scholar. The fourth one are the cultural experiences that I'm having so far. The fifth one are the challenges and achievements. The sixth, my favorite maybe, exploring Japan. And lastly, some message to viewers. Okay, so the first one is introduction about myself and the program that I am in here in Japan. So I'm Reymund Lara. I'm from the Philippines. I'm an elementary teacher. I have been teaching for more than a decade, I guess, though it seems to be only yesterday. So in 2020, I was able to go to the US for a scholarship program under the Fulbright Scholarship program. So that's from 2020 to 2021. But before that, I was also able to go to China for an exchange program as well for about 28 days. So those are the experiences that encouraged me to apply for another scholarship program. Like after my Fulbright program, I did a 2-year return service to share about the things that I learned I did while I was in the US. And after that, I applied for the MEXT Teacher Training Program, which brought me here in Japan. So the entire process, the application process is not easy, but I am thankful to everyone, especially to my senpai, to Ma'am Nesel Panes, who really motivated me to apply, and also to Ma'am Nueva Mangawang, and also to Ma'am Maria Lenny Pamposa, who were former MEXT teacher trainees here in Japan. We are in the same division in Passi City. So I was really motivated and inspired by them in spite of the challenges along the way. So I arrived here in Japan October 2023. And it seems to be only yesterday though, but that was like 9 months, 8 months ago. It's really a different thing. It's a different kind of experience. I've been to the US, I've been to China, but I think everyone wants to also go to Japan. So I'm thankful to everyone who supported me along the way. I arrived here in Japan October 2023. I will be here until March 2025. So what I did like for the first 6 months was study Nihongo at Tokushima University. It was an intensive class, like every day we have to go to school and study Nihongo. It's still challenging until this time, but I'm beginning to appreciate it more. Like every day you learn something new, so you'll get to know more of Japan by being able to speak the language. I'm not yet fluent. I guess I still have a lot to learn, but I'm just taking one step at a time. That's what I always remind myself, I guess. And April 2024, I moved here at Naruto University of Education for my research. So I will be here in Japan for about 18 months or 1.5 years. So for the first 6 months, I studied Nihongo, and for about a year, I will be conducting my research. I will be having a research. So I'm currently working on my research. I still have a semester to work on it. It's challenging, but I like it because I'm not really good with research. So I'm learning a lot from my supervisor, Professor Gerard Marchiso. So I'm thankful to him for accepting me here at Naruto University of Education, and also for guiding me in the process of working on my research. Number 2 is arrival and first impressions. So I arrived here in Japan October 2023. I think October 1 or October 2, I guess. I kind of forgot. I arrived, my flight was like early morning, I guess around 3 a.m. from Manila, from Ninoy Aquino International Airport. I arrived at Kansai International Airport at KIX, and then I went to Osaka. I stayed there for a night. I was able to also meet my friend. she's assigned at Hiroshima University. We were able to go around a little, especially in the Dotonbori area. It was really fun because like in the past, I only saw that on TikTok or on Facebook. It's really nice visiting there. And my first impression in Japan, like maybe for everyone else, I believe like Japan is a progressive country. The food is delicious and so many things to explore. So like really when I arrived, when I went to Dotonbori in Osaka, it's really the thing. I really was amazed by by that experience. And until this time, um, living here for about 9 months, 8 months, I'm still inspired. I'm still amazed of the many things that Japan can offer to everyone. I think my memorable experience during my first few days or maybe weeks here in Japan is that really the language. Because like during the application process, we took an English exam and also we were asked to answer or to take the Nihongo test. So, but it's not required. The Nihongo test is not required, but I think it would really help you if you know a little of Nihongo or you already have a background how to speak Nihongo. So at first, sometimes when I would go to the konbini or a supermarket or like let's say 7-Eleven, Family Mart, when I would go there and then you know the people there would speak Nihongo and then I felt like I'm an alien because I don't understand anything. But as time went by, as I am learning Nihongo, slowly I begin to understand what they were saying. So first impression, I guess, or maybe the challenges at first is the language and of course, you know, getting to know where things are, what to do about many things. So I think what I just did was to be a little more observant. Like before you do things, you have to observe people, how do they do that? And of course, you also have to do a little research if how things are done here in Japan because most of the time it might, or maybe it might be a little different on how we do it in our home countries. Like for me, in my case, in the Philippines. So I try to be more observant and I try to learn Nihongo a little more every day, one day at a time. The third one is life as a MEXT scholar. So my routine during the first few months when I was learning Nihongo at Tokushima University, mostly like I don't take any other classes. Usually our class is like in the morning. I think it's around 8:30, 8:40 to around 11:50. So every day for 6 months or for 5 months, that is what we were doing. And then also we are having cultural classes, cultural visits every now and then as well. So it's very interesting. It's very nice. It's very challenging at first because like I don't know how to read katakana and hiragana. Well, my other classmates are good at it already. So it's a little challenging. But yeah, like what I usually tell myself, you know, I just take one day at a time. And while I was at Tokushima University, and while I was at Tokushima University, usually in the afternoon, I just study Nihongo until in the evening. And then on the weekends also, I try to go somewhere, visit new places. And when I moved here at Naruto University of Education, it's kind of like a different environment because we live on an island. Yeah, it's literally an island, but the city is not that far, I guess. There are buses and there's also like a boat that you can ride on to get to the city. It's a different experience, but what I usually do is like every day I have a different schedule. I take classes, but it usually depends upon you if you want to take classes. But that's what I do. I take classes that I find interesting. And then I'm also working on my research. And then also, sometimes we also have school visits, which I like very much because I get to talk to the teachers and meet the students as well. Most of the time when we visit schools, we share about our home countries. So I share about many things about the Philippines, which is interesting, which is, I guess, one of the reasons also why I am here to share more of the Philippines and also to get to know more of Japan in order that when I go back to the Philippines, I would be able to share that as well to my students. For the academic environment at Tokushima University, I think it's not that heavy on my end because I am here on a non-degree program, and usually when I was at Tokushima University, I just studied Nihongo. And here also at Naruto University of Education, it's also different because I'm taking classes, like audit classes, so I don't get any grade for that. And it also depends sometimes if I want to submit or also work on the assignments or other things that the teacher requires. But usually for audit classes, I am not required to submit assignments or work on other things. But I believe some subjects are very challenging, so I cannot imagine. Sometimes I find it difficult, so I'm learning every day as well. I really learn a lot. Though I take classes as an audit class, I really learn a lot, especially I guess when it comes to research, statistics, and all those things. It's really interesting. I love it. I think the interesting things that I did so far, or maybe interesting classes that I have, is like my statistics class, because I'm not really good in mathematics. So I'm learning a lot from my research class. And then for the projects that we did, like one time we went to Naoshima Island. It's a very nice place. It's a very peaceful place, and there are so many things to see. We also did meet like students. They are learning English, and then whenever there are visitors, they try to speak or they try to introduce the island in English. And I think it's a very fun and interesting way also to learn English, and also for tourists to be familiar more of Naoshima Island. So we were brought there by my supervisor, Professor Gerard Marchiso, and yeah, I'm looking forward to more interesting places to see as well. For the cultural experiences, Japanese culture, like I think Japanese people are very respectful and they are law-abiding citizens. And also I see like most of the time I saw before, because I always take the bus when I go to the university. So I would usually see little children going to school by themselves, and then also they like to read. Like even when they're sitting on the bus, they are reading. And note it's not only children who are reading when they're on the bus, but adults are also reading. I think that's one thing that we in the Philippines somehow have to work on, like maybe develop children's love for reading, because they learn a lot from that when they read. And then for the festivals, I guess here in Tokushima, it's not only in Tokushima but in the whole of Japan, Awa Odori is one of the most famous omatsuri or festival around. So I also got to like dance like the at Awa Odori Kaikan, and then I was also able to watch a little presentation about it. And then this month is like the highlight of the festival of the omatsuri. So I am looking forward to experiencing Awa Odori during its on August 11, 12, I guess, 12 to 15. So that's an exciting part. And then aside from that, there are also ohanabis. There are also, or like fireworks display. There are also some ohanamis or like the sakura. There are really a lot of things happening around, especially in summertime, though it's a little hot at times, but it's manageable, I guess, in a way. And for my favorite food, Tokushima ramen is my favorite. I tried ramen when I was like back in the Philippines, but when I moved here in Japan, ramen is really authentic. It tastes really different, and it's my favorite. And then Tokushima ramen, and then there's also Naruto Thai ramen, which is like fish, sakana. And then also lately I tried soba and I like it as well. So a lot of food there. There's also sushi, sukiyaki, and others. They're all delicious. For the cultural shocks or maybe surprises that I've encountered, so far in a way, maybe during my first few weeks is that Japan drives on the right, and in the Philippines we drive on the left. So that's one thing that was kind of like a shock for me, because sometimes I'm waiting for the bus and then I would look at the cars moving, and I was like, why is it that there's no one driving? And then I would recall that I'm in Japan. And then also, people are a little like when you are on the bus, usually people do not talk. It's very silent in the bus. So that's one thing also. I think that's a little shock in a way because in the Philippines, we're a little noisy, we're a little talkative. So that's one thing that I also have to work on to adjust somehow. But, I like the peace here as well. And also, I guess the Japanese transportation is very excellent in a way, especially the trains are very efficient. So you can go anywhere you want because trains are around or though at times they might be a little expensive, but it's very efficient. You can also take the buses as well. For the new skills and hobbies that I have been doing, I think during the weekends I like to travel around. Though sometimes I would go to places by myself. I think it's also nice to see places by yourself at times. And then also hobbies, that's what I'm doing. Like every weekend, I try to go somewhere, even though it's not that far, even though it's just around, I try to go somewhere. And then also for the skills, I guess also I've begun to like appreciate or be more inspired of learning Nihongo or other languages because there are also international students here who speak Spanish, who speak French, and also there are Chinese students as well. So I think I'm more interested on like learning other languages maybe in the future. But for now I'm usually just focusing on Nihongo so that I can talk to people around, I can understand what Japanese people say. So that's one thing that I'm working on as well. For the challenges and achievements, I think mostly it's more of the language and also the culture. So, like if you don't speak, maybe not that much for major cities, but I'm not living in a major city. So, language is really the big thing, the big challenge that I have. But thankfully, I have my phone, I have my data. So, at times you can just Google Translate, or I'm using Papago as a translation website. I think it's nice or it's better maybe, but that's what I'm doing. And then also like when I'm going to places, I'm using Google Maps because it's really helpful and it can really guide you if you want to go and see places. For the highlights and milestones, I guess there are a lot. Maybe mostly like milestones for me are like I was able to visit Osaka, Kyoto, Kobe, and most of all maybe Tokyo because like I mean I only saw them in movies in the past or maybe on Facebook or on Instagram or on videos or from my friends visiting around. So it really gives a different level of happiness, like seeing Tokyo Skytree for myself, visiting Tokyo for myself, and of course seeing Mount Fuji. It's really a different thing. It's really a different experience. Number six is exploring Japan. So far, I have been to a good number of prefectures. So in Japan, there are about 47 prefectures, I guess. So I have been to Kobe, I have been to Tokyo, Osaka, and where else did I go? I have been to Gifu, to Nagoya. I also visited Tokyo in March 2024. And then I also visited Kagawa, Takamatsu, and Kochi. So I'm looking forward to visiting more prefectures. That's one thing that I like about here in Japan because you can go anywhere if you want because there are trains and buses. And my favorite of all the cities or prefectures that I visited so far, I think my favorite is Kyoto because there's like a perfect balance of nature and modern architectures as well. So Kyoto is my favorite. So many places to see and also there are a lot of food to try. And I am looking forward to visiting Hiroshima in the future as well. Hopefully this month or next month or before like going back home to the Philippines. My most memorable trip, I guess, was my trip to Tokyo in March this year, 2024, because we visited lots of places. We went to Mount Fuji, which is very excellent one for the books because when you look at the pictures or videos of Mount Fuji, it looks very nice, but like when you see it for yourself, that it's really huge, it's really vast, it's really one of a kind experience. So I took lots of pictures for that, and I also, from time to time, most of the time, I'm also trying to make videos and upload it on my YouTube so that maybe after a year or so, I can look back and just look at the videos that I posted, and it will bring me back to that experience once more. Number 7 is connecting with people. That's also, I guess, one highlight of being here in Japan is that I get to meet people from different countries. So I have some friends from, like here at Naruto University of Education, I have friends from Mongolia, Morocco. I also have some friends from Belgium, India, Seychelles. I also have my fellow teacher training students from Zimbabwe and from Ghana. And then where else? Um, there are also some students, international students from countries which I only saw on books, or maybe some countries that I'm not really that familiar of. So it's really nice getting to know other people, talking to them, because when you talk to other people or fellow or students from other countries, you get to know them a little more, and then you begin to understand a lot of things. So for my YouTube channel as well, so sometimes I also try to, or maybe in the future, I will try to interview them for my hashtag Be Inspired series so I can get to know them a little more. So yeah, I think that's the best part of being an international student, because you interact with your fellow international students. We go places with them, we explore different things with them. So, and also maybe because we are experiencing the same thing, the same challenges, so usually we understand each other in a way. What I also like here at Naruto University of Education is that there are a lot of Japanese students as well. So I like to have a conversation with them. I like to get to know them a little more, like about their cities or their prefectures. So yes, and then they are very helpful, and also Japanese people are very nice. I admire them more, like during my interactions, and yes, I'm hoping to build more relationships with them. Like even though I would go back to the Philippines, I would still be connected with them, and see how things would turn out for them, like their future, maybe the things that they would do. Like it's like a long-term friendship. For the language experiences, yeah, so there are students here who are from China, so they speak Mandarin. So I learned very little Mandarin. So sometimes, like saying hi to them in Mandarin, like ni hao. Yeah, so I'm more interested in learning more of maybe Mandarin in the future, and also learn Spanish, because there are lots of Latinos here or people speaking Spanish here. And also French, I guess, is also a beautiful language. So maybe in the future, I'll try to learn that. And of course, right now, I'm trying to focus more on learning Nihongo, because I want to have more interactions and conversations with Japanese people. Like most especially when you are outside, you are talking to people on the streets, getting to know them a little more. So I'll work on that a little more, I guess. For the number 8, future plans, usually what I do is that I just always remind myself to enjoy life a little more. I mean, to make every second important or valuable, because I always remind myself that I will not be here in Japan until forever. So I try to enjoy every moment, like whenever I have a free time, I try to go somewhere, visit places, and yeah, eat a little more, try different Japanese food. Yes, so there's more to see in Japan. So I'm trying to just remind myself to enjoy every day, because there's like every day is a highlight, every second is a highlight, and there are more places to see in Japan. So I just try to enjoy every day. And I'm also looking forward to visiting more places here in Japan. And whenever there's time and whenever there's money, so I'll try to go see different places. I'm really looking forward to visit Hiroshima, Okayama, and the Himeji Castle. I'll try to visit whenever there's an opportunity and whenever there's money. And I'm also looking forward to learning more Nihongo, to be a little more fluent in Nihongo, and also looking forward to working on and finishing my research so I can finally travel a little more, because my research is very important for me as a MEXT Teacher Training student. So hopefully I would be able to finish that and travel and enjoy Japan a little more. And lastly, my message to everyone. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Thank you very much for supporting me. Though sometimes I think if you are my Facebook friend or Instagram friend, sometimes I'm thinking that I think I'm posting a lot of things. Like every day I'm posting new things. But I always remind myself that it's not for other people to see, but it's for my future self. Like after a year or so, I would be reminded by Facebook. It will become memories. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to post, not for other people to see, maybe a little sometimes, but most of the time it's for me. It's for my future self. That I would remember that, a few years ago when I was in Japan, I was here or I was doing this. So it's for my future self, and also to share with other people, to share with my students, my coworkers, and my relatives, the many things that I'm doing here in Japan, and also how beautiful Japan is. And what I always sometimes, maybe a little realization in a way, is that I think I visited more provinces here in Japan, or maybe cities here in Japan, than I visited in the Philippines. So that's also one thing that I'll work on when I go back to the Philippines. I think I need to explore more of the Philippines, because the Philippines has a lot of things to offer as well. So I'll try to visit in more of the Philippines, more cities or more provinces or more islands in the Philippines. And of course, if there are things that you would want me to talk about for my YouTube channel, if you have suggestions, feel free on letting me know. You can comment, you can send me a message if there are interesting things that you would want to know about Japan. I think that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of my journey here in Japan. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimashita. Matane. Thank you very much, and see you again soon. Bye! Arigato!